I'm always around behind the scenes for Jeannie, Jimmy, and the entire Bus family if they ever need assistance or need to reach out or call for advice and things of that nature. Now, being front and center about it is not something that's really my cup of tea. I mean, I'd rather be behind the scenes and focusing on the content that I'm creating because that's where my passion truly lies. But the Bus family knows I'm always one phone call away.
So after the Lakers' worst loss in franchise history on Sunday, the Lake Show, they're looking for answers, and Kobe Bean says he's around if they want his input on fixing the struggling young team. Well, Luke Walton was asked about Kobe and said this: "It depends in what capacity he will come in and help. After losing by 40, he's not the first guy I'm calling. Kobe's more about tough love." The Lakers are tied for the second worst record in the NBA. Stephen A., should the Lakers want Kobe's help?
No, they should not. And that was, I didn't see it mentioned, that was me interviewing Kobe on my radio show this past Friday. Let me say this to you. You don't need Kobe's help right now because Luke Walton is absolutely right. Kobe going to walk up in there, and if guys stink, he's going to tell them they stink. He's going to hold them accountable. He's going to ask them whether or not they're putting in the work. He's going to question their level of dedication because he's been around enough of them to know what their habits are and what where their commitment to excellence actually lies. And not only that, even to the most dedicated, most would pale in comparison to Kobe anyway. Kobe's the kind of person that would win a championship, play into May and June regularly, Max, and then literally, even after winning the championship, take about 2 weeks off, and then he's up again at 5:30, preparing himself for the upcoming season. That's how he operates. You got guys that are done in April, once the regular season is over, and don't really put in any work until August. Kobe Bryant takes about a week or two off, and religiously for 20 years, he was right back at it. Just that focused, that dedicated. That's what he is. That's what most dudes are not. And so when you look at the Lakers, bereft of extreme talent, no doubt, but also because of Jim Buss, they're in an abyss that's difficult to lift themselves out of. You need star caliber talent. You need a box office attraction. You need all of those things. But you also need somebody to remind you of the culture that existed, that's in the locker room, not somebody who's just coming to visit. Luke Walton recognizes that because he's been there before. He's won a championship with this team. He knows what it takes. And so he's wise in taking the stance that he's taken, knowing that Kobe is not the guy to call after you suffer the worst loss in franchise history.
Yeah, Kobe,
he's wise enough to know that.
Kobe, maybe if you're on the precipice of something, but a certain key player needs to toughen up, you bring him in then. But Kobe will otherwise demoralize the team because he's doctrinaire about his beliefs, meaning doctrinaire, he has a philosophy and he thinks it applies all the time, no matter what. And Luke Walton's really off the Steve Kerr coaching tree as much as anything else. I mean, that's where he came directly from, even though obviously Phil Jackson and others, but Steve Kerr's point of view is, let's see what I have here. Let me take from my various experiences and adapt and apply it and see what works. And that's the approach I think Luke Walton has to take at this stage of these baby Lakers development. Kobe Bryant will rigidly, I think, apply his tough love that Luke Walton mentioned. And this team is just not ready for that. Like, even if Kobe believes, look, this is the right way to do it, damn it, and maybe he's even right. And it'll weed out the weaklings. Maybe, but you might be left with no team. And at this point, these young guys need encouragement, need more kind of positive reinforcement. They're so far away from where they need to be than the kind of negative weeding out of the weaklings, I think. Though I wouldn't rule out bringing Kobe in at some point in the future if you notice a key guy here or there needs a kick in the pants.
Well, he says that he's willing to do that. He says that he'll do whatever Luke Walton or anybody asks him to do. He prefers to be the behind the scenes. He's happy in retirement. He's got several ventures, including one in concert with ABC and ESPN. He's very happy with that, but he'll always be a Laker. He'll always help in any way that he can. But I think that while we're sitting here talking about this, we've talked that you know how much I lament the leadership of Jim Buss. At some point in time, we have to start talking about Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss has gotten a pass, and here's why. Over the last 3 years, the Lakers have been 27-55, 21-61, 17-65, and now they have the second worst record in basketball in 16-32. She said, she's told me personally, she's told me on my radio show, she said personally that she can fire her brother and she would not hesitate to do so, but she wanted to give him time. He specifically said this is the amount of time he needed in order to get this ship turned around. That has not happened. Jim Buss should be gone at the end of this season, and if Jeannie Buss can't do it, she should be going with him.
We'll be chopping this up throughout the season.
No question. We got another key guy to get into, though, Stephen A. We want your thoughts on. The Wizards extended their home winning streak to 14 games after beating the Celtics last night. John Wall had 27 points, highlighted with a big dunk over Kelly Olynyk in the final minutes. Wall is averaging a career-high 23 points per game this season. Max, is he being underappreciated?
No, I think he's appreciated properly, actually. John Wall is a different kind of talent than most players in the East. He's a superstar talent, but he has not yet put together a season wire to wire, game to game, wire to wire, that elevates him to the ranks of the Westbrooks and those kind of players. He's capable of doing it, and it would be great if he started doing it now.
Well, here's where I disagree with you. I do believe that he's a superstar caliber talent. He is producing. He is underappreciated, which is where I disagree with you, because he plays on both ends of the floor and he brings it every night. First quarter, fourth quarter. He defends, he scores, he assists, he motivates, he inspires. You see guys showing up all black last night, then they step on the court and they back it up. And the folks in the nation's capital that go to the Verizon Center to watch this guy, he's the one model of consistency that the Wizards have. It's not his fault that this franchise has struggled. You could blame that on Gilbert Arenas and how he took this franchise back years with his nonsense. John Wall is the real deal, and it is time that he is shown the respect that he deserves.
Speaking of the real deal, coming up, it's my second go at Final Take, and I got a few things to say about Russell Westbrook. Stay tuned for that. More First Take.
That's a top 5 player. How about John Wall?
LeBron James is growing impatient with the direction of the defending champion Cavs and is calling for the franchise to do something about it. LeBron and company have lost 5 of their last 7 games, and after unleashing on the team following their most recent loss to the Pelicans, LeBron tweeted the following yesterday. I'm not mad or upset at management because Griff and staff have done a great job. I just feel we still need to improve in order to repeat if that's what we want to do. Max, where do the Cavs go from here?
To the Eastern Conference Finals, where they win in probably around 6 games, and then to the Finals, where, because of the presence of LeBron James and Kyrie to a lesser extent, and to a much lesser extent, Kevin Love and others, and the backup point guard that LeBron is sure to make them acquire by putting this public pressure on them, on the front office, because of all those things, but mainly LeBron, they'll actually have a chance to win against a team that won 73 games last year, might win 70 games plus this season, added Kevin Durant to that squad, basically, without taking away all that much. The Cavs will actually have a chance to win that series, the rubber match, because of LeBron James. So the answer, Stephen A. Smith, is where do they go from here? Right back to the finals, Eastern Conference Finals, the first stop.
Yeah, but that's short-sighted, because it's not just about where they go from here in terms of their success or failure this season. It's about where they go from here if you want to take LeBron James into consideration. Consider the fact, Max, that he's been in 6 consecutive NBA Finals. Consider the fact that he's played in over 1,000 games. He has compiled nearly 40,000 minutes. Right now, he's at 39,977 minutes in his career during the regular season. The number says here it goes up to about, 8,383 minutes if you include the playoffs, which is at 199 games. I mean, think about that for a second here. So we're talking about, over 1,100 games. We're talking about over 47,000 minutes and him being 32 years of age. What he's talking about is what you're going to need to do to get back to the NBA Finals. The energy that he's going to have to expend. How he's still leading the league in minutes right now, averaging about 37 minutes a night. Or leading the Cavs, sorry, averaging about 37 minutes a night. He's saying, my goodness, how long do you think I can keep this up? Can somebody please look out for me? I'm going to bring it. I'm going to do what I can. We'll probably get back to the NBA Finals. And if you're going to go through all of that to get to the NBA Finals, damn it, you might as well win it. That's what it's about. But it's also about making sure that the additional level of attrition doesn't kick in unnecessarily, which means that it's going to be up to management and ownership, you know, to give him the requisite parts that he needs so Tyronn Lue can put him on the bench more without worrying about the team plummeting because of it. That's what you're going to have to do right now. That's where the Cavs should be going from here.
It's a good point that you're making because we don't know the effect that many consecutive trips to the finals has, because it's never happened in the modern NBA before. And let's not forget the Olympics as well. LeBron James has a packed schedule on top of all of that. And we just don't know what the effect is on a basketball player's body at this level, playing in as many games as he does, as you mentioned in the past. He doesn't miss playoff games, playing a ton of minutes in the playoffs, going to the finals every year, winning them like half the time. We don't know. And it reminds me, in a way, of, and I brought this up yesterday, of Kobe Bryant when they brought Steve Nash and Pau Gasol in, and Kobe was not going to let that team not make the playoffs. They went 28-12 because he essentially played himself like 46, 47 minutes a night, so many consecutive nights. And that reminded me, Stephen A., of the story of John Henry. Are you familiar with the story of John Henry, the steel hammering man?
Here we go, Stephen A.
Go ahead. So
John Henry.
I got my pen. I got my pen. All right, let's go.
So John Henry was a steel hammering man. Right? They used to have to hammer the steel into the mountain. Yeah, they hammer the steel into the side of the mountain because then they would blow up the mountain and build. Okay, so the steam drill is invented. And John Henry said, nope, that steam drill's not going to beat me. I'm going to beat the steam drill. And he did. He beat the steam drill, but he died from the exertion. So he won, but you see what I mean? You win the battle.
That's exactly what I was thinking when we discussed this
Here's
topic.
LeBron James's issue now. He can beat the steam drill, maybe. He can maybe even beat the Golden State Warriors. But to do so, he may have to play himself so many minutes on top of so many deep trips to the finals every season. Maybe he's never the same. Maybe his body breaks down eventually. So if the question is, where do the Cavs go from here? You have to hope that LeBron doesn't kind of end his career at this level based on the exertion. That's why he's asking for a backup point guard. The man needs to rest. I would suggest a week or two rest for LeBron James, and then maybe even for Kyrie if the Cavs are serious about not only success this year, but on an ongoing basis.
So to bring up the conditioning and the endurance of LeBron James, you brought up John Henry, the steam drill, and conditioning.
Luddites.
You are special.
I was going to say steamboat, but it was a steam drill.
You are special.
John Henry is a Luddite, among other things.
Hey, listen. Hey, I appreciate the education, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
I could sing you the song. My mother used to sing it to me